You know what this reminds me of? Prime 2018 Fortnite Winterfest.
Speaking of Fortnite,
Calamity!
Yeah. One of today's Minecraft videos. Come on.
Minecraft 2 Fist with the boys.
Yes, sir. Beyblades?
That's good.
Yes,
Good
sir.
point.
Oh yeah. Spaghetti.
Yeah, okay, we'll dig it. Yeah.
What about trying to be a YouTuber?
On Vines, yeah. Ooh,
Eating chalk?
Nah, it's just you. We should get that checked out. Wait, hear me out. Alphabet soup.
Okay, we'll dig it. We'll dig it.
These are some great memories.
Yeah.
Nostalgia by Brian.
Caleb.
And Dominic. Nostalgia is not an isolated individual experience, but often a collective one. Communities, subcultures, generations share a nostalgic sentiment, reinforcing a sense of social identity and belonging.
So in this speech, we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane, talk about the basics of nostalgia, how people are impacted by it, the causes of nostalgia, as well as the social norms affected by nostalgia.
The word nostalgia is rooted from the word nostos, meaning returning home, and algos, meaning pain or suffering. This relates to the meaning of nostalgia when a person can think, remember, reminisce, or dwell on a fond and meaningful memory from the past. More specifically, one from their childhood or past relationships. Nostalgia is a very complex emotion that involves acquiring, processing, and understanding past knowledge through thought, senses, and experiences.
When this happens, many things may happen as well, including the person may miss the time or a person during that time period, long for it, and even wish to return to that certain time period. As a result, this will make the person get emotional, most of the time experiencing happiness, but there may be other emotions such as loss, longing, comfort, calm, regret, sadness, pain, and bittersweetness. For example, think of a memory from your childhood that maybe brought you comfort or happiness. Is this important memory to your life? This is an example of nostalgia.
Leading into the next question, which is, what kinds of memories tend to make you feel nostalgic? Nostalgia can have many different physiological benefits because when engaging with nostalgia, a person can have a stronger sense of belongingness, affiliation, or sociality. This all comes from the University of Southampton. Although nostalgia has some benefits, these do not come without a price. Nostalgia can also have negative effects, depending on your culture and gender normalities. Nostalgia can also feed towards racist beliefs. According to a 2025 PsychNet article, it was quoted that radical nostalgia predicts an increase in prejudice, anger, and fear towards Latin immigrants and collective action for white nationalism via perceived loss of meaning in life. This shows that if somebody is raised in a family that is racist, nostalgia will power those feelings instead of realizing that it is not okay.
Nostalgia can be caused by multiple things such as objects, events, music, photographs, odors, tastes, or even close friends from your childhood. Nostalgia involves neural substances known to be engaged in self-reflection, autobiographical memory, emotion regulation, and reward processing. What part of the brain do you think is most important to the cause of nostalgia? Options A, the amygdala. Option B, the hippocampus. Option C, the prefrontal cortex. Or option D, the brainstem.
When these substrates are engaged, the medial prefrontal cortex, also known as MPFC, the ventral medial prefrontal cortex is known as the VMPFC, the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC, the posterior cingulate cortex, the PCC, and the hippocampus, known as the HPC, are being used. This is from an article made by Hezron Kai, named Patterns of the Brain Activity Associated with Nostalgia in 2025.
The hippocampus is very crucial to this activation of nostalgia because it is involved with learning, the storage of long-term memories, memory of recent events, and the sense of time. This was from an article made by John V. Urabs called Brain, published in 2024.
The medial prefrontal cortex, ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and the anterior cingulate cortex are part of the prefrontal cortex, as shown right here. The prefrontal cortex is important to nostalgia because the different parts of the prefrontal cortex have to deal with feelings, memory, and behavior. For example, the anterior cingulate cortex does many things, but the most important thing it does is regulate emotions.
The ventromedial prefrontal cortex, shown in this light purple at the bottom of the brain, judges experiences as good or bad.
The medial prefrontal cortex adjusts behavior when rules change. This comes from the Cleveland Clinic article called Prefrontal Cortex in 2025. All of these factors create what nostalgia is. The emotions that are regulated in your anterior cingulate cortex plays a part in the emotions you feel when something is nostalgic.
The past experiences you find good and bad also affect what experiences you find nostalgic. If there is a bad past memory, you most likely won't find it nostalgic. But if there is a past memory that you find good, you will likely find it much more nostalgic.
When you encounter nostalgia, it may cause you to change something in your behavior based on that past experience.
Mental health also plays a major role in nostalgia. As we transition into adulthood, nostalgia evolves into a useful coping mechanism for managing life's pressures, such as career changes, starting a family, or navigating other significant milestones, according to UF Health in an article published in 2025.
Nostalgia can also have negative effects depending on your culture and gender normalities. One negative effect nostalgia has on mental health is making you remember happy times and want those things back, even though they can't happen again. This is very bad to one's mental state and can lead to depression, self-harm, and even in some severe cases, suicide.
Social norms greatly impact nostalgia since people have different concepts of what is important. This can lead to influencing how different people remember nostalgia and how they perceive it. People may also block out their nostalgic experience since they have a social status that they must upkeep, and sometimes their past experiences do not meet these expectations that they have best seen set by their community.
There are two different types of nostalgia: communal nostalgia and personal nostalgia. We discovered that people who were very nostalgic prone scored high on both types of social motivations, but the effects were stronger for bolstering their existing network. People can be impacted by nostalgia in so many different ways, from remembering an old memory that you think of as being the good old days, or maybe even bad nostalgia of a parent or family member dying. According to the National Institute of Health, positive aspects of nostalgia can help improve your well-being, whether it is cognitive or emotional. This was stated by Lieben in an article published in 2023. Nostalgia can be based off of different past experiences.
These past experiences could be playing Fortnite Chapter 1 Season 8 in 2017 during Prime Christmas and Prime Winterfest with hot cocoa next to you after you opened all your gifts, or
This can also be represented as 2-week phase with the boys on Prime Minecraft.
It is also stated by James Dellingpool from Galen Context that negative nostalgia can be caused by trigger warnings that bring back memories that some people think of as negative and not encouraging, which may lead to lowering someone's moral and self-esteem.
A study from UF Health stresses that while there are a lot of positives to experiencing nostalgia, such as building self-esteem and helping people find meanings, there are also negatives which can be hindering personal growth and increasing anxiety. Anxiety, which is a major roadblock in today's world, is a very common mental illness, and almost no one can go their entire life without experiencing anxiety one time.
according to the American Sociological Association, a well-known company associated with sharing information about the different effects of many different mental illnesses, stated, anxiety is considered a long-acting response that you can never fully avoid or stop from occurring in a 2025 article.
This is shown by the pie chart up here, which shows that 96.8% of people are experiencing anxiety right now, and there's only 3.2% that aren't. This doesn't mean that the people who aren't experiencing it now haven't experienced it at all in their entire life. This is important because we really need to know this to be able to understand how severe cases with anxiety can be.
These memories that are remembered are all processed through the brain. Older people have more past experiences than younger people, which may imply that they are able to call back on more past memories, which allows them to have a lot more nostalgic moments. For example, there could be a nostalgic experience where someone sees an advertisement while watching TV. This could lead to a reaction that shows happiness or remembering something from their childhood, or it could lead to regret, reaction, which makes them feel sad and emotionless, since they can no longer experience that same thing ever again.
This could be different for a person that was not yet born in that specific era, since they were not able to experience this memories from a first-hand experience. They are only able to hear stories about it from other people that did. Nostalgia can form a group or individual experience, which defines it as either being public or private.
Some scholars have synthesized and defined nostalgia as a bittersweet emotion. This proves that these experiences could be positive for one person and negative for another, even though the event was the same while the experience that people had with it was different. Emotions can be very complicated for different people. Cultural aspects can also affect these same experiences.
Different cultures can have different views and ethics on what actions are right and wrong to them, and if they should be avoided. For example, older Amish groups do not believe in using modern technology, which means that the children who grew up Amish with these cultural aspects would not be able to play a nostalgic video game or have an experience that is nostalgic to another more modern group.
Diving into the scientific aspect, when someone experiences a nostalgic event, dopamine is released. This is known as the feel-good drug, which makes you feel energized. Synthetic drugs such as cocaine and the majority of hallucinogenics release copious amounts of dopamine when they are used. If people desire this feeling of remembering past experiences, they may start to feel overly exhorted and need more of this chemical to feel awake and energized throughout the day.
These drugs also can become addicting, which may lead to people becoming addicted by using the drug more than needed, which leads to health problems aside from the ones brought from negative nostalgia. These health problems could include overstimulation, hallucinations, addiction, and in some cases, even death.
People can be affected in so many different ways, but when a lot of people think of nostalgia, they only consider positive aspects. But there is indeed a lot of negative aspects that must be considered in how you experience nostalgia.
Although everybody experiences nostalgia in their own different and unique ways, nostalgia can still help build together groups, help individuals cope, and even bring together whole communities, all through one shared emotion. Now, to end off our speech, we're all going to be doing our favorite Fortnite dance.
I'll go first. That's Caleb Abrams.
I'll go second.
Okay. I'll go third.
And wait, and then